Some projects challenge you in ways you are not expecting. Some decide to fight you from the beginning till the end. Some do both. This is one of those projects. Welcome to the video on how I painted the most challenging mini I've ever done. Welcome to Dr. Phoenician, or how I learned to stop worrying and love contrast paints. But I'm afraid I started this video from the middle, sort of, so let me go back a bit. This whole journey started with an email from Games Workshop. I got the absolute honor to get invited to be one of the content creators to participate in what's the most amazing community project ever endeavored by Games Workshop. The idea was to get the 18 legions from the Horus Heresy and the 18 corresponding Primarchs painted by different members of the community for the presentation of the new edition of the Horus Heresy game. When it was my turn of picking Primarchs, FULGRIM was still free, and there are several reasons why I thought him would be the perfect choice of model. One, I've always wanted to paint a purple marine with contrast, and second, I foolishly thought he looked rather simple to paint and build. Yeah, I was an idiot. The story of my life. Speaking about that, let me address a couple of things. This won't be a tutorial. If you want a complete and comprehensive step-by-step and all the paints used for painting FULGRIM, go and check the video that will be appearing in the top right corner or linked in the description. Every single theme was painted in exactly the same way. The hobby part of this mess of a video starts with the model all built and ready for paint. The model was primed with Wraithbone, and for some reason paint just didn't want to stick to it. I've had this happen before, but not on this scale. This was a true disaster, and yes, the model was washed thoroughly beforehand. I was tempted to call it a day and strip this to start again, but I knew I could make the paint stick if I insisted enough. And as you can see, this did take a lot of effort, but the paint ended up sticking, although not perfectly, but I could work with it afterwards. Slowly but surely, a small section at a time, and with lots and lots of swearing, I managed to get the entire purple armor done, at least the base coat. The exact same thing happened when painting the details with grey, slightly mitigated because I could use thicker paint, but it's still there and very annoying. Why don't we let past Juan deal with that while I talk about the first day of the event for a bit? I know this video is a mess, by the way. My initial idea was to have two videos, one about painting FULGRIM and another one about the event itself, but I've learned something I didn't know about me during this trip. I am a shit videographer. The amount of out-of-focused or badly exposed clips I have is astonishing. One would think you will have to be actively trying to be that bad, but I'm just a natural. On our first day we got to try out the new game, and I will be honest with you, I was ready to not like it, but the truth is, the game is actually very good. I thought it was fun, challenging and very engaging. We later got a tour of the Warhammer exhibition, which was one of the most amazing displays of talent I've ever seen. It's for sure something everyone that loves this hobby should visit at least one in their lifetime. It was truly a tick in my bucket list for sure. I cannot really express how grateful I am at Games Workshop for this opportunity. One last thing that I think is very important to make clear, we got unprecedented permission to film inside Warhammer World, including the Warhammer exhibition. Please don't do that yourself, it's not nice. And later, we ate at Buckman's, which was a great experience if you ask me. And I also got to meet some of my hobby heroes and painters I really admire. Once all the base coats were done, the process was significantly less painful, but the trim and the details are so small that going back and forth is a must, and the whole process is long. The good thing about the trim is that there's not that much space left for highlights, so the purple armor itself was rather fast to do, and I could quickly move into more fun things like the cape. The cape was painted in the same way as the red cape video I made, again link in the top right corner, but as I didn't want to dye glaze in that cape, I chose to do the main highlights using dry brush. I first experienced with this technique when painting the avatar and loved the speed and the smoothness I got with it, so over the initial contrast layer, I dry brushed the first Mephiston red highlight and smoothed it out with a couple of very fast glazes. More layers of dry brushing with the next highlight colors, and repeating the smoothing in between layers. For the later steps, I moved into a single edge highlights and layering. All in all, the whole cape took about 20 minutes. It's that fast. Note how I added highlights in the lower parts of the folds that are facing upwards. A lot of people miss those highlights and just highlight the top of the folds, but all surfaces facing upwards towards the source of light will get illuminated as light falls directly on them. The face was something I was really looking forward to painting. I love painting faces. This one is also quite large, which makes it a great experience. I like to use a highlight color that has some yellow in it, especially for the upper parts of the face, as it gives the model more light and a more natural look overall. In this case it was Screaming Skull. Speaking of a natural look, you need to add tones to a face for it to look realistic. Some simple glazes with a burgundy color is more than enough. I was also tempted to give him a slight stubble, but in the end I chose not to. I think it fits the character better. The small reflection on the eye seals the deal and the face is done. The big day was here. Arriving at the Horus Heresy Open day was quite the experience. The queue was massive, and seeing all the cosplay people that I follow was amazing. Once inside, all our models were displayed there, and you have a gloriously out of focus shot of FULGRIM there along with a lot of the other out of focus Primarchs. The whole day was a complete blast, and I got to meet a lot of amazing people that recognized me, which was weird and great at the same time. The only thing I can remember clearly was the bustling noise inside the exhibition and how tired I ended up being. After all the madness, we got to eat some delicious pizza for dinner, and I could talk with all the Warhammer TV and Warhammer Plus presenters. Was the highlight of the day. I hope I didn't embarrass myself too much, but knowing me, that's more than a probability. The last part of FULGRIM was of course the sword. I wanted to make the sword be as separated from himself as possible, to feel as alien as possible, so I painted it using colors that aren't in any of the other parts of the model. I chose a cold steel look for it, and I painted the magic effect with a neon green as it is directly opposed to the armor color. I know the sword is not like that in the lore, but I feel the allegory was more important than the accuracy. I was being clever, you see. You can find how I painted the blue steel itself in my TMM video. As with all the other videos, I will have a link in the top right corner and in the description. Sadly, I didn't got the base filmed on camera, but I was extremely short of time. It's literally just prime black, a quick highlight with a white ink using the airbrush, a white dry rust and some contrast layers on top, and a fuck ton of pigments. Thanks Laneige for pigments. So that is all, lovely people. FULGRIM is here in all of his painted glory and in lush 360-degree viewmatic goodness. Thank you very much for watching this weird ass video I just made. I hope you enjoyed this format. It's maybe a bit of a departure to what I usually do, but I thought it would be fun. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Bye.